Erickson Galt.
Here.
Joliet.
Here.
Luke's not here yet, or Nelson. Taylor. Here. And Hoffman is not here yet. Spiz.
Present.
Johnson.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Please rise. Commissioner Taylor, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Awesome. With that, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes dated February 20th, 2024, moved by Commissioner Joliet, seconded by Commissioner Taylor. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The minutes have been approved. I would entertain a motion to approve today's agenda, moved by Commissioner Taylor, seconded by Commissioner Spitz. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That also passes. Thanks a bunch, everyone. Moving on, we're gonna bump into public comment number 1. Anyone from the public wishing to address us on anything on the agenda right now, come forward. Seeing none, we'll close public comment number 1. Move on to our regular agenda then. I would entertain a motion to recommend to the board regular agenda item A, Human Resources Amendment to the Oakland County Employees Retirement System, moved by Commissioner Loops, seconded by Commissioner Erickson Galt. HR, would you kindly join us at the head of the table there and present on item A?
Hi everybody, I'm Carly Webster, I'm the Retirement Administrator. This is Aaron Castle, he is legal counsel to the Retirement and Deferred Compensation Board.
Hello. Good morning. That was nice and fast. Any questions or discussion from Commissioners? Commissioner Spitz?
I need some clarification. For section 5.10A, makes 100% sense to me. Section B is where I'm confused. So if you can help elaborate that for me, because the way it's written, it makes it sound like they can pull funds if they've been relieved of duty but are put back in the service because of a grievance.
So
That's where I'm gray.
So you've hit on, so 5.1A is existing language.
Yeah.
B is the new language that the retirement board has recommended, and the recommendation arises from 2 situations that have presented themselves recently as a result of employees that were terminated. While they were terminated, they withdrew money from their retirement accounts. And then through the grievance process, through an arbitration process, they were retroactively reinstated to their employment. The retroactive reinstatement creates a compliance issue because they're being reemployed as if they never had that separation. The retirement plan does not permit in-service distributions. So if they're being reinstated retroactively and they withdrew money, that's an impermissible in-service distribution, creates an IRS compliance issue. So that language was added in response to those situations that would essentially allow someone who's terminated and then gets reinstated to not have to pay that money back, essentially, is what it does.
Okay, thank you for that, because that helps explain it to a bit, but still, because they still have, how do I put this? They'll still be fined for pulling it out early though,
Correct,
right?
there'll still be tax consequences.
Okay,
They just won't have to repay the money if they get reemployed. Right now, the situation we've had 2 situations, right? Where the individuals were reinstated
right?
because they were not allowed to take those withdrawals while they were essentially employed. They had to pay the money back, hundreds of thousands of dollars in some cases. And we've had one where there was an inability to do so. We've since come to an arrangement that it will be done over time. But we're trying to avoid this, and it's not something that's likely to happen often in the future, but we're trying to avoid that burden on the individuals to have to repay that type of money back if they're reemployed.
Okay, I think I understand now. And it's only effective if it goes through the grievance process, so
Correct.
nobody could quit,
Correct.
right? Or get terminated and then all of a sudden be hired back, like, let's say 3 weeks later because they realized they didn't want to retire. And so and they pulled all their money out and then it would be.
No, that would not
apply in this case.
fall
Okay.
into that exception.
So the other question is, when you say compliance, is it compliance to the law or compliance to us? Because you're adding it to our policy, basically.
Yeah. It's compliance with the Internal Revenue Code and federal law, right? The IRS only permits in-service distributions if the plan provides for it. So the plan did not currently
I got you,
provide
okay.
for it, so we had to add that language to allow it be acceptable in the eyes of the IRS.
All right, thank you.
Commissioner Taylor, anything?
No.
You're my expert on this,
No, my questions were answered
Okay.
and they were basically the same, but I just wanted to know what events caused it. Because usually when you make a change to a plan, something triggers that. And they explained that to me. We did have a couple of instances where employees were let go and then made a deduction from their policy and then had to pay it back when they were rehired. That does create hardships.
any other questions, discussion? All right, motion on the table then is to recommend to the board. Madam Clerk, would you please prompt the vote?
Spiz,
Yes.
Joliet,
Yes.
we have 8 yeas, 0 nays.
Thanks a bunch, and thank you, Carly, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
That item passes then. Moving on to item B. Post just an FYI, B and C are both about more appointments. Though they are quite different. B's been in the works for quite a while. I don't need a motion to discuss, we just start discussion, right? Okay. So, moving on to item B then, I would love it if all of you would open your item summary sheet and then scroll down to the policy analysis section. There's a calendar that I kind of want to call all of your attention to. This is the Materials Management Board. We've been talking about it for a while. It's a result of new Eagle configurations. So if you all see that calendar, it's a large board and we've got a ton of applicants to go through for a bunch of different positions. So there's no way that we can reasonably do them all at one time. So we've got kind of 3 interview chunks in theory, and we can discuss today how to do what positions when, and then we'll move forward. So if that looks good, any other comments on that? Yeah, Commissioner Spence.
No, I'm good with the calendar. My general question is, because you're correct, there's a lot of positions. There are some positions I think we could appoint today.
There are some.
So is the strategy to wait till the end to appoint them all at one time? Or do we want to appoint some now or next meeting or whatever? To give people more time to think about it. And then the ones we have to do interviews, we appoint later on.
I waffled back and forth on this, and I think that out of respect for everyone, we formally do all the appointing at the end. I understand it would be very easy to just get the one-offs done right now, but yeah, let's just do that, because then also just like for staffing purposes, it would sit in the gray space until that board, right?
And there's still some steps to be done before we can actually create the Materials Management Planning Committee
Okay.
and disband the Solid Waste Planning Committee. So that's why we talked to Economic Development and they've asked us to do this timeline. They really don't want us to officially appoint till,
They don't want us to go faster than the speed of government,
yes,
basically.
yeah, until like June 4th to make the official recommendation,
Understand,
so.
that makes sense now.
That being said though,
Interview one
I
million.
that being said though, I have no problem with all of us like penciling folks in where we think that's sensible. Any other discussion on this? So then moving on, how do we want to actually do the interviews? Who do you want to interview when? Do you want to just go down the list? If you go into the packet, which is the second attachment there, you can kind of see there's this really nice grid of everyone that we need and how many applicants we have for all of them. Oh, I know Commissioner Spiz left, but the other reason I'm hesitant to appoint folks early on is that I do want good geographic distribution, and it's hard to do that a la carte versus at the end and think about everything, but Commissioner Lubes.
Are the applications still open for an applicant in the first position, the county elected official? Or is that somebody will
I
appoint?
believe it's just among us who is.
Oh, yeah.
Just us.
Yeah, and there's two, you'll see on the chart, it shows the different categories and how many have applied. We just got another one yesterday. Amanda Herzog applied for the city elected official.
The link.
And the links, the blue, when you see the blue, you can just touch the link and it will take you to the application. If you download the packet to your, to navigate it easier, I know there's a lot of applications in there, so.
So the one,
No.
so the one that's under applicant one, are these people that are already in those positions?
No. There's no one in the positions now. It's a
Okay.
brand new board.
Well,
So-
yeah, but, okay, yeah.
So this is literally just one to
Okay.
whoever, any order.
Okay.
Commissioner Hoffman.
I think that originally this was a solid waste planning committee.
Yeah, it's being transitioned.
Right, because the state law or something.
Right.
And I told them I'd be willing to do the county elected one.
Okay. That's applicant number one then.
Okay,
Submit a recommend.
so I can add your name in that list to update it if that's,
Okay,
I just
thanks.
wanted to make sure before I did that.
Commissioner Loops, were you asking for the same reason?
No, I'm happy to have Commissioner Hoffman in that position.
Your trash is my bread and butter.
I do recycle though.
Did we wanna go in order? How do you all want, I'm ambivalent. We kind of have 3 weeks parsed out for this.
So you could do it by category, you could do it by, if there's only one applicant for a certain you know what I mean?
Right.
Well, is the time closed, sorry?
Certain amount.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, is the time period closed, so
It is.
nobody else could apply?
No, we had an applicant yesterday and the link is still up. Just because it's gonna take us 3 weeks, it's fine, I don't care if someone applies
I say
tomorrow.
it's gonna grow, basically, okay,
Well, it could, if we're lucky, it'll grow. It's been difficult getting it to where it is now.
I know.
Commissioner Loops.
Were any of these applicants on the previous committee?
Yes.
I believe so, yes.
Yes.
Bob De Palma was.
Yeah, that's right.
There's quite a few that were on the solid waste committee and I can tell you who if you.
Is that reflected in their application?
Yes.
Probably.
Okay.
Like Mike Sapo
right.
and
Rachel Barlock.
Rachel Barlock,
I would suggest that we start with the categories that have the most interest, most applicants, get those out of the way, and then move to the ones that are hopefully a little simpler. Yeah,
I appreciate that. Any other?
we have two categories where there's 5 people, another 2 with 3 people. Those interviews
That's
Well, I
are
guess,
time consuming.
Commissioner.
is the intent to interview everybody that has applied, or do you wanna parse it down to a smaller list up front? Say,
I'm
okay,
ambivalent. I'll move at the direction of my committee,
that's the way to ride that fence.
Didn't we already interview some of these people?
not for this.
for solid waste maybe in the
Is
past.
that what it was?
That was years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, but I felt,
No,
Yeah,
I think we
so-
just did,
Didn't we
Damani
do-
had, I believe, didn't we interview just recently?
I feel like we did.
I think we had an open spot that we were trying to fill, and this all came.
Cause there's there's the applicant on here that we'd already interviewed.
Commissioner Loops.
How about if we interview people who are presently on the first committee that's going to be this committee,
Could do that.
if they've shown an interest in applying again?
So, okay, I like that. What if we, this is where I struggle as chair. Why don't we do, and tell me how the math breaks down on this, but let's play around with like incumbents, quote unquote. They're not really, but like kind of. And the environmental interest group.
You've got 5 people there. I think if they applied, I think you should interview them, just because they made the effort.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
They don't think they wasted their time. They'll think it's political. That would never happen.
But I mean, I guess I need to comment to that. I didn't look at every applicant in full detail for today, because I knew we were just having a general discussion. But for example, what if somebody that applied for the waste hauler is not a waste hauler? Why would we interview them for that spot?
Exactly.
Well, that should be a disqualification.
Agree, so I just wanna make sure that is,
Yes.
because there's some people that applied for multiple positions, which I think is obvious.
Some categories you only have one, so.
I just wanna make sure there's some disqualifiers in there if people apply just for multiple positions, even though they're not qualified for that
Yeah,
position.
that'd show up in their resume.
That's correct.
Okay, I actually, sorry, I feel like if we did all the incumbents first, that might get a little bit messy. Why don't we do the busiest ones first? Environmental and waste. And then, sorry, environmental interest group and solid waste disposal facility operator. And then, that's one day. Waste hauler. Anaerobic. Another day?
Now you figure, what, 10 minutes a person
I think
or?
that that's
Yeah, it
plenty.
won't take long.
Because we could do the interviews in 3 meetings, probably.
Yeah, cause then everyone else, that last day. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, that's 8. Well, that's pretty split. Is it okay? Is that okay?
So what were you keeping?
So, okay. Environmental interest group representatives and solid waste disposal facility operators the first day, next week. And then, waste hauler and composting or anaerobic digester facility operator the second day. And then the third day is everyone else. We'll invite
Oh,
everyone.
that's good.
We'll note the incumbents, quote unquote incumbents, because that's a fair, absolutely fair thing to know. Bob has applied for county elected official. And unless we get anyone else for that one, that's a pretty easy thing. But anything else? Commissioner Nelson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Going through I like the idea of you looking at the representation across the county. Are there any areas that you don't see that you would like to see?
Good question.
Comes down to Pontiac, Royal Oak, Pleasant Ridge, Berkeley, Troy, Rochester Hills, Clarkston, Ortonville, Madison Heights, Auburn Hills, White Lake, Franklin, Fenton, Southfield. I'm sorry?
Is there anybody from Novi area?
That's why I'm on the Southwest.
I did not come across that yet.
Or even just west.
What do you got? Northwest, you got Robert Palms up there.
Almost too much from northwest.
Put Bob on there, Bob.
Bob tips it over.
Yeah. I wanna be interviewed.
Might be able to vote on it.
So yeah, that's a really good note. Southwest and Far West, if y'all have any friends, although I realize that none of us also represent that area, so. I will tell Phil, Gwen, Ajay, and Chris Long.
That's it, because he's got everything else.
Okay, that's a really good note. Thanks, Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you.
Anything else? Sweet, looking forward to this. Let's get him in. Moving on then to our other appointment. Oh, this is just a discussion too, although I think we can actually do this one if you want. Commissioner Spitz.
I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Jay Quadrosi,
What's your motion?
to reappoint Jay to Huron Clinton Metro Parks Authority.
Just friendly reminder for everyone, the board is 2 gubernatorial nominees and then 1 from every county. So this is our 1 county representative. Motion seconded, no?
Yes.
Oh, seconded by Commissioner Joliet. All right, motion on the table is to move the reappointment of, where did his name go?
G. Quadrazi and its own woman.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Would you please pop the vote? Let's see. What is Ratzi? It's 4 somethings.
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
We have 8 yeas, 0 nays.
Sweet, thanks everyone. Moving on to item D, I would entertain a motion to recommend to the board, Parks and Rec, item grant application TF24-00747 to the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund for the acquisition of 71.17 acres of property in Troy, moved by Commissioner Loops, seconded by Commissioner Erickson Galt. Hi, folks.
Morning.
Morning.
Thanks for taking this item up. We are very eager and hopeful that our application this year to the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Trust Fund will be successful. We've been, 3 years in the making of working towards acquiring this property in the city of Troy. It's a rare opportunity to preserve a fairly large tract of land in a urbanized environment. I think 300,000 people live within a 15-minute drive of Turtle Woods property, which would be, if it was a city unto itself, the second largest city in the state. So, it's a beautiful piece of property. There are some high priority species to be preserved there as well. We were hopeful with the last round of the trust fund grant dollars going out, we were going to be successful. Unfortunately, or fortunately, there was an abundance of high quality applications last year. But our application scored very well, and in a normal year probably would have been successful. Melissa has been hard at work at this for years, so I'm not going to steal any more of her thunder. She's been carrying the water on this, so I'll let her do the presentation.
Okay. So I know a lot of this won't be new information to most of you, but we wanted to just do a brief reminder of what this project is and why it's so important and what the grant is that we're asking for your approval for today. So we are requesting $2.175 million from the trust fund. The total project is for just shy of $4.5 million. I'll show you the breakdown in just a second. But just as a reminder, Turtle Woods itself is about 70 acres, and then we're looking at a residential parcel that's just to the south that has access off of Square Lake Road that we would use for parking and access, because otherwise the parcel is landlocked. So, it's cut off a little bit at the top, but this is the breakdown of what we're applying for, and there's a lot of moving parts, so sorry for the color-coded spreadsheet, but just to kind of help explain what we're applying for. The most important portion of this is the top, that top section. So last year, the Troy School District, who owned the property, it's currently being held by Six Rivers, but Troy School District is, as the owner of the property, donated 25% of the value for our trust fund application. So that counted as the 25% required match, which is fantastic. That doesn't have to come out of our pocket. They donated that. That is the minimum requirement, so we didn't get any points for it. So we went back to the school board after talking to the trust fund board and said, what can we do? How can we score more points? We were maxed out in every category except that local match. So the Troy School District has graciously agreed to donate 50% of the value of the property to toward the application, toward our acquisition. So that's $1.875 million that they're going to donate, which brings our total match up to 51%, which will get us an additional 25 points, which is the most that we can get. So we do feel confident that that will push us up into that fundable threshold. But like Chris said, it does depend heavily on how many projects come in, how many acquisitions, and kind of how they all relate to each other. But this 25 points is going to go a long way, and we are very grateful to the school district for that contribution. So you can see down at the bottom, our total cash match will be around $425,000. These are all estimates. We'll have to do another appraisal before we can actually close on the property. But that's our match toward acquiring that residential parcel. Just a reminder, in the county of where we're at. We have been trying to focus our efforts more on providing recreation, especially nature recreation, closer to where our population centers are. And this is an area where we don't necessarily have that type of park. So just to kind of orient you to the property again, 70 acres. They did sell off a portion of the property on the south end where that Robertson Brothers development is going in. There is a lot of development pressure in this area. The school district essentially sold off that portion to build a new preschool, which is what is allowing them to donate such a significant portion of the value of the rest of Turtle Woods toward the project. So they were able to use that funding for their new preschool. There is parking required as part of that Robertson development where that red circle is. They were required as part of their site plan to put in 14 spaces, which is great. We're hoping a lot more people will come than 14 people a day, so we're gonna build some additional parking. Chris mentioned the drive time, 300,000 people within a 15-minute drive. And just a reminder of why this property is so important to us. I mean, a lot of it really comes down to helping create future stewards. We wanna get kids into nature. We wanna provide nature near where people live. We wanna provide opportunities for people to, take a quiet hike, to relax, to meditate, to spend time in nature without having to drive an hour to do so. I put this in just because it's a cool picture, show you how much the property is loved. It's not operated as a nature preserve currently, it's Troy School District surplus property, but the surrounding neighborhoods have really adopted it as a nature preserve, and there are a lot of stick bridges, stick teepees and forts that kids have built. It is actively used as a park. So we're looking forward to going in and putting an actual boardwalk over this wetland instead of this stick bridge. Our public engagement for this project has been great, probably the most robust public engagement we've ever seen on a project. Some of these pictures are from the open house that we did last February. The one in the below middle with Commissioner Erickson Galt is from the event that we had just a few weeks ago. People are incredibly supportive of this project. Last year, I think we submitted about 15 letters of support. I think the minimum you have to submit is 2. We submitted 15 from different organizations, municipalities, and partners. This year, we're probably going to submit at least 100 or more residential letters from residents. They are writing us very heartfelt, very thoughtful letters about why this property is so important to them. So we do talk a lot in the application about the sort of the people benefits of the property, but there's a lot of natural resource benefits as well. This property has 43 acres of wetland on it, which in a very dense urban area provides significant stormwater management benefits to the community. There's also some rare species on the property. We haven't seen a spotted turtle on the property since 1998, but a study that was done a few years ago did indicate that that habitat still exists. So as part of our restoration efforts, we would love to see that spotted turtle come back. There are Blanding's turtle on the property and then some really cool plant species as well. And some rare natural habitats, southern hardwood swamp and wet music prairie remnant, not something that we see regularly in this part of Oakland County, so something that's worth preserving and restoring. Just a little aerial footage that was shot by some high school kids from Troy Athens High School that helped us put together our presentation to the trust fund last year that we like to show, so you can kind of see the breadth of the property. So what we're asking for today is to resubmit this application to the trust fund. It's due April 1st. They will make their announcements in December, so we'll let you know in December if we get funded. But we are being very optimistic, but we're also, kind of always thinking about what a plan B could be if it doesn't pass, and the commission thinks that this is a very important piece of property, and we obviously agree with that, so we're crossing our fingers.
Yeah, probably worth noting this is tied to the item on closed session as well.
Yes, correct. Yep, just another update for you.
Awesome. Discussion, questions? Yep.
I love it. We've talked a lot over the course of the past couple of years now in regards to Turtle Woods, so I'm excited. And kudos to the Parks Department to make it happen. Thanks.
One question. Yes, I know this has been a long time coming. You guys have been working on this. Just a quick question. So obviously Troy School District and Six Rivers are participating in this. Should everything move forward, do they participate at all in the maintenance or moving forward? No?
They don't, no. So the way it's structured right now, and the reason there are so many partners is because we can't use trust fund dollars to purchase the property directly from the school district. You can't use it to purchase publicly held property. So Six Rivers kind of steps in and takes ownership of the property from the school district through an assignable purchase agreement. So they're kind of holding it for us right now. So if and when the grant goes through and we close on the property, that purchase agreement just transfers over to us, and the school district and Six Rivers are essentially removed from it at that time. Yeah.
All right.
Be operated as an Oakland County park.
Yeah, I will say they are very interested though in continuing to partner with us. Chris Bunch was just telling me the other day that he has someone interested in funding some woodcock habitat restoration on the property. And the Stage Nature Center is very interested in doing some volunteer cleanup days out there, which we're looking to potentially do this spring. So hopefully we'll have a lot of support.
You said it also was a stormwater holding area, something like that?
It just, the fact that it has 43 acres of wetland in it, there's
Okay.
probably a lot of drainage that's flowing into that area.
Okay.
So it acts as kind of a retention basin.
Okay, I was just, maybe the city would like to help participate in some of, just to defer maintenance costs if it's helping. Just a thought.
They've been pretty supportive
They
of our
have.
efforts and
Yeah.
as
Overall,
we've worked towards acquiring an additional piece of property, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. They were very helpful in helping us find a solution that would provide better access to the site.
Yep, and our plans for this property are to put in a nice parking lot, probably a small restroom and, maybe a small shelter off the parking lot, and then essentially just build trails and boardwalks. So our overall maintenance should be relatively minimal, and most of it will probably be done by our natural resources crew.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anything else? Commissioner?
As someone who lives less than 5-minute walk from there, basically the other side of Square Lake Road, this is something that the community really wants to see happen, especially the people in my neighborhood. They have used this as a de facto nature preserve for decades. And I've had many neighbors who said, please don't develop it. We are tired of seeing houses, the McMansions go up in Troy. They really, really want to see this preserved.
Appreciate that. Anything else? All right, motion on the table is to recommend to the board. Madam Clerk, would you please call the vote?
Hoffman,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
Awesome. That is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would now entertain a motion to go into closed session to discuss the purchase of property. Moved by Commissioner Erickson Calt, seconded by Commissioner Nelson. Is that it? No.
Yeah, we just have to.
You need to vote on it, don't you?
Oh, we do have to vote.
Yeah,
I'm
vote.
sorry. That is.
It's
Thank
important.
you.
Okay, closed session.
Yes.
It's driving me nuts, I don't know if it's driving me nuts.
I know
Yes.
Somebody trying to break into the treasurer's office, they don't actually have all their
Did it
stamps.
prompt?
It did prompt, so.
Okay, we have 8 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. We're now in closed session. Sorry.
Wow, Lago's first closed session
I
in quite
know.
some time.
I know,
Super excited.
first one
I don't
for
think
me.
I've ever sat in one.
Not here.
All right. Well, that's it, folks. That concludes our regular agenda. Moving into public comment, then anyone from the public wishing to address us on anything? No one's waltzed in. I will move on to other business. Anyone have any fun stories over the weekend or any announcements?
I can't tell you, the camera's on.
Commissioner?
When is our next legislative update?
That is a really good question. It will be the next LACO meeting.
Yeah, no, Pam's got it.
It's April, let me see.
I did ask for that quarterly, and we're
Yes.
right about the
And
quarterly.
you gave me a, date, certain dates.
That sounds
Yeah,
like,
it's either gonna be the second or the
placeholders.
16th, so. I think it was the 16th, but
16th of
April.
I think.
Okay. Sounds right.
Coming up, if you have anything you'd like to have him pay particular attention to, let me know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll give you a legislative update. Things in the House are still tied. Nothing's happening on the floor. It's very dull. Committees are still pumping along. It's appropriations season. The governor has an executive recommendation that she put out about a month ago at this point. Look at it. It doesn't mean a whole lot legally, but it starts the discussion. We expect to have the actual money figures out within the next 2 weeks on what the committees are allowed to do. So look for that. Yeah, Senate's chugging right along though, so.
Do you have any insider updates on, I know Representative Arbit did a hearing in the Education Committee in regards to the House Bill 5025?
I was wondering if anyone else saw that, yeah.
Do you have any inside update on?
No, I mean, that was 2 weeks ago that that was on testimony.
Yep.
The bill's been there for a while, so
It
I was
has.
shocked to see it actually on testimony. I don't think they voted it out, but I'll check to see if they voted it out. I'll check, I'll let you know.
Absolutely, thank you.
What's that one? I'm sorry.
Charter schools, right?
So
Yeah, it's the amendment.
May 14th.
May, yeah, sorry.
Can we bump that
I
up a
think it's
little?
because, yeah, we could. I think it's because maybe you thought not much was
I probably
happening
did
until
think
then.
that.
It's to repeal the educational,
Okay,
Cause I did, it was May and then
Institution
like
Access
September.
Act.
yeah.
which is a series of bills that
It's to help save historic schools, because school districts tear them
From charter.
down because they don't want any competition, they're afraid of a charter school. So that's why they destroy these assets, and there's gotta be some kind of
You have an
legislation.
opinion on this, Bob?
I've never heard Bob speak about this in
No,
his
I'm
life.
gonna remain neutral for a minute.
I've got a question about House Bill 5532 that would
That's why.
limit the use of wakeboarding boats.
School districts.
Oh, I don't know much about this, but I know that all the lake people, like yourself, care tremendously
Well,
about this.
I don't have a wakeboarding boat, but I have gotten a lot of emails about it. I'm like, I don't know
What is
where.
it, Karen?
So, you know, the DNR hit the wakeboarding boats, they're
Oh, yeah.
eroding the
Oh, yeah.
shoreline, blah, blah, blah. And so there's been a bill that's been introduced at the state,
Please do.
House Bill 5532, that constituents have been contacting me about, because it's to, I guess, enforce a 500 feet distance from,
Sure, from the shore.
which a lot of lakes would be not usable.
There'd be a lane down the middle of the
I mean, my frustration is I do respect this, but the DNR and the DEQ can't enforce the rules that they have now. So,
What I can tell you is that it was introduced very recently, February 29th, leap
there you
day.
go.
I'll let you know if it moves at all, but probably not anytime soon. I do know that it's been remarkably scandalous in the nature of the, like, hundreds and hundreds of bills are introduced all the time, but that one I've heard quite a bit about, given that it's
Okay.
only 5 days old, like, that is
I
pretty,
know, I've gotten a ton of,
yeah. Yeah, interesting, I'll let you know.
okay.
Sure. Do you have any insight? I know we talked about this. I know I
This
put
is a fun
together
day.
and introduced a non-binding resolution in regards to the Affordability Connectivity Act. I know you were sharing that there's some action that the state is also
You're
pursuing.
not gonna like my answer on that one.
No, I would be curious.
Well, everything was voted down and it's just partisan politicking.
Was there a particular topic that was discussed to vote it down?
Making the other side look like they're in disarray.
That's unfortunate.
It is.
Well, I appreciate the update.
You're welcome. Anything else? That's a terrible note to end on, you guys.
It really is.
But I guess we are. I'll adjourn, 9:53.
So is there